Okay, so picture this. It's 2030. You wake up and your coffee is made by a robot. Your Uber? Self-driving. You try to log into work, but there's no work to log into because an AI is doing your job and doing it better for free. And here's the kicker. You're not mad about it. You're just confused because your bank account is empty, but somehow Amazon is still sending you emails like, "Hey, we've got great deals." And you're sitting there thinking, wait, if nobody has jobs, who's buying all this stuff? Look, I know this sounds like some dystopian sci-fi nightmare, but here's the thing. We're already halfway there, and nobody's talking about the actual economics of what happens when AI takes our jobs. So let me ask you something. If robots are making everything and nobody's working, how does the economy even function? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is going to completely change how you think about the future of work, money, and whether you should be panicking right now. What's up, everyone? Today we're diving into the question that's keeping economists up at night, and probably should be keeping you up at night too. If AI takes all of our jobs, who's going to buy everything? And I'm not talking about some distant future. According to a 2023 Goldman Sachs report, AI could replace the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs globally. That's not in 50 years, that's potentially within the next decade. But here's what most people don't realize. This isn't just about job loss. This is about the fundamental structure of capitalism potentially breaking. So buckle up, we're going deep. Here's the thing nobody's really explaining properly. Our entire economy runs on a pretty simple cycle, right? Companies hire workers, workers get paid, workers buy stuff. Companies make money, companies hire more workers. It's a loop, a beautiful, self-sustaining loop. But what happens when you remove workers from that equation? Companies save money, profits go up, shareholders are happy, stock prices soar. But wait, if nobody has jobs, nobody has money. If nobody has money, nobody buys stuff. If nobody buys stuff, companies make no revenue. And suddenly, those cost savings from firing everyone? Completely pointless, because there's nobody left to sell to. This is called the paradox of automation, and it was actually first described by economist Wassily Leontief back in 1983. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, workers would become like horses after the invention of cars, just not needed anymore. Let me show you the math on this, because it's actually insane. Let's say you're a mid-level marketing manager making $75,000 a year. After taxes, you're taking home about $55,000. You spend roughly $50,000 of that on housing, food, entertainment, your car, whatever. That's $50,000 flowing back into the economy, into restaurants, into streaming services, into car dealerships, into grocery stores. Now, multiply that by 300 million jobs. That's $15 trillion of consumer spending that just vanishes. For context, the entire US GDP is about $27 trillion. Consumer spending makes up nearly 70% of that. So if you remove even half of those jobs, you're looking at a $7.5 trillion hole in the economy. And here's where it gets really interesting. Companies think they're being smart by replacing workers with AI. Look at us, we cut our labor costs by 60%. But they're not accounting for the fact that their customers are also getting replaced by AI somewhere else. It's like, imagine you own a restaurant and you fire all your staff and replace them with robots. Great, your costs go down. Except the office building next door also fired everyone and replaced them with robots. So now there's nobody coming to your restaurant for lunch. Congratulations, you played yourself. Now you might be thinking, okay, but we've been through this before, right? The Industrial Revolution replaced tons of jobs and we survived. And look, I get it, that's the standard argument. But here's what most people don't realize about previous technological revolutions. They created new types of jobs. The cotton gin eliminated some agricultural jobs, but it created factory jobs. Computers eliminated some clerical jobs, but they created programming jobs and tech jobs. But AI is different. AI doesn't just replace physical labor, it replaces cognitive labor. It replaces thinking. According to an MIT study in 2024, AI systems are now outperforming humans in language understanding, image recognition, and even some forms of reasoning. So where do displaced workers go? What's the new job that gets created? Some people say, well, we'll all become AI trainers or AI supervisors. Okay, cool. So 300 million people are going to supervise what? A few thousand AI systems? The math doesn't math. Here's where the psychology gets really dark. Right now, wealth inequality is already at historic levels. The top 1% of Americans own about 32% of all wealth. The bottom 50%? They own 2%. Now imagine what happens when AI accelerates that. The people who own the AI companies get richer. Bezos, Musk, whoever owns the next big AI platform, they're capturing all the productivity gains. But the people who worked for those companies, they're just gone. And this is where the whole "who's going to buy everything" question becomes terrifying, because luxury goods can only take you so far. Sure, a billionaire can buy 100 cars, but they can't eat at 1,000 restaurants every day. They can't watch 1,000,000 movies simultaneously. The economy needs mass consumption. It needs millions of people buying toothpaste and paying rent and getting haircuts. When you concentrate all the money at the top, you create what economists call demand deficiency. Basically, there's plenty of supply. Factories are churning out products, but there's nobody with money to buy them. This is where it gets controversial, because there's really only a few ways out of this. Option 1, Universal Basic Income, or UBI. This is the idea that everyone gets a monthly check from the government, no strings attached. Andrew Yang ran his entire 2020 presidential campaign on this. He proposed $1,000 a month for every American adult. And look, here's the thing. UBI isn't some radical leftist idea. Milton Friedman, one of the most famous free market economists, supported a version of this back in the 1960s. Why? Because robots are doing all the work and creating all this value. Somebody needs to have money to buy what the robots are making. Otherwise, the whole system collapses. But here's the problem. Where does that money come from? The obvious answer: tax the companies that are using AI instead of workers. Bill Gates has actually proposed this, a robot tax. You replace a worker with AI, you pay a tax equivalent to what that worker would have contributed. Sounds reasonable, right? Except companies hate this. They argue it'll stifle innovation, slow economic growth, blah, blah, blah. Option 2, massive job retraining programs. This is the more capitalist-friendly solution. The idea is we retrain everyone for jobs of the future. But here's what most people don't realize. We tried this already. In the 1980s and 90s, when manufacturing jobs disappeared, we told coal miners and factory workers to learn to code. And you know what happened? A tiny percentage successfully transitioned. The rest ended up in lower-paying service jobs or dropped out of the workforce entirely. According to a Brookings Institution report, only about 0 to 15% of displaced workers successfully retrained for comparable paying jobs. So the idea that we're going to retrain 300 million people, it's fantasy. Option 3, shorten the work week. This is the one I find most interesting. What if AI makes us so productive that we only need to work 20 hours a week instead of 40? Everyone keeps their job, everyone keeps their income, but we have way more free time. France already does a 35-hour work week. Some companies are experimenting with 4-day work weeks and finding productivity actually increases. But again, this requires companies to voluntarily pay people the same amount for less work. And good luck with that. Let me bring this back to you specifically, because here's what you need to understand. This isn't just about other people losing their jobs.
This is about the entire consumer economy potentially falling apart. Right now, even if you keep your job, your customers might not. If you're a small business owner, your clients might not be able to afford your services. If you're in sales, the companies you're selling to might not have customers. If you're in real estate, people might not be able to afford houses.
This is a systemic problem. It's not about individuals, it's about the whole structure. And here's the part that should really terrify you. We're already seeing early signs. Target, Walmart, Amazon, they're all experimenting with AI-powered stores with minimal staff. Fast food chains are testing AI drive-thrus. Legal research, AI. Medical diagnostics, AI. Customer service, AI. According to McKinsey, by 2030, up to 45% of current work activities could be automated. That's not some distant future. That's like tomorrow. Here's where the psychology gets really interesting. Because we've built our entire identity around work, when you meet someone, the first question is usually, what do you do? We derive meaning, purpose, and social status from our jobs. So what happens to society when work disappears? Some people say, great, we'll finally be free to pursue art and hobbies and spend time with family. And maybe, that sounds nice. But here's what most people don't realize. Humans need structure. We need purpose. There's a reason lottery winners are often miserable. There's a reason retirees get depressed. We're wired to feel productive, to contribute. And if AI takes that away, we're looking at a mental health crisis on top of an economic crisis. Okay, so I know this all sounds pretty doom and gloom, but here's the thing. There are things you can do to prepare. Step 1. Develop skills AI can't replicate, yet. Focus on uniquely human skills, creativity, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, leadership. AI is great at pattern recognition. It's terrible at understanding context, building relationships, and thinking truly outside the box. Step 2. Own assets, not just income. This is crucial. If income from labor becomes unreliable, you need income from assets, real estate, stocks, businesses, intellectual property. The people who own the means of production will be fine. The people who only sell their labor, not so much. Step 3. Stay politically engaged. Because honestly, this isn't a problem individuals can solve alone. We need systemic solutions, UBI, robot taxes, labor protections. Pay attention to which politicians are actually talking about this and vote accordingly. Step 4. Build multiple income streams now. Don't wait until your job is automated to figure out Plan B. Side hustles, passive income, diversification. The more income sources you have, the more resilient you are. Look, here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. We might be heading toward a future where the concept of employment as we know it just doesn't exist anymore. And that's either going to be a utopia where everyone's needs are met and we're free to pursue whatever makes us happy, or it's going to be a dystopia where 99% of people are destitute and 1% live like kings. Which one we get depends entirely on the decisions we make right now. Do we tax AI companies and redistribute that wealth? Do we implement UBI? Do we shorten work weeks? Do we create new systems we haven't even thought of yet? I don't know, but here's what I do know. Ignoring this problem and hoping it works itself out is not a strategy. The who's gonna buy everything question isn't hypothetical. It's the central economic question of our time. And if we don't figure it out soon, we're gonna find out the hard way that you can't have capitalism without consumers. So that's it. That's the paradox we're facing. AI might make us incredibly productive, but productivity without purchasing power is just stuff sitting in warehouses. I want to hear from you. Do you think UBI is the answer? Should we tax robots? Or are we overreacting and everything will work itself out? Drop a comment below. Hit that like button if this made you think differently about the AI future. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the economics of tomorrow. Because trust me, this conversation is just getting started. And whether you're ready or not, the future is coming.
See you in the next one.